Okay, what is smart growth? Smart growth is forced urban intensification. Forced. That means you've got a city such as Auckland, which is about 1.5 million people. The ARC, or the controlling authority, says, okay, you can't have sprawl, any more sprawl. So what happens is you end up with more population growth, and of course, where do they go? Where do all those people go? They go up, they don't go out. So you get high density cities, that's how you get it, and you get that whether people like it or not. So it's smart growth is forced urban intensification. That's what it is, basically.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, why is it employed?
It's employed on two, publicly promoted rationalizations. One is social and the other is environmental. Now, the social arguments that I've flipped off a long time ago because they're so pathetic. But the idea is that we're all going to be happier for some reason with the lifestyle that's provided in a high-density city. More walking, more public transport, as is said, and less driving, which is all supposed to be, wonderful. Those arguments, to me, are nonsense because they're lifestyle arguments. Those social arguments are lifestyle arguments. It's not a city council's place to tell you whether or not you're going to be happier in one mode of living or another. It's your choice as an individual. It's not an argument to effectively outlaw urban sprawl. So that's a bad argument. The other argument, which is at base more substantial, is the environmental argument. Now, there are two major aspects of the environmental argument which is used to justify sprawl, which is used to the promoted advantages of it. One is that you save a small amount of farmland from urban sprawl. How much farmland? That's something that we don't talk about very often. In New Zealand, you're looking at about 1% is currently covered over in urban sprawl. So it's a tiny smudge of land, and with the stabilising population, it's a ridiculous argument on the scale of things, basically. There's plenty of land to go around. Copious land for houses if we want to expand our cities out. Overall in the world, I think it's about 2 to 3% of the land of the planet is covered over in cities altogether. So cities and urban sprawl have never been an issue in terms of consuming too much land. So both those arguments, of which are used to justify urban intensification, are incredibly weak, to say the least.
Well, will it stay that way?
Will it stay that way?
Mm.
It would only become an issue if we all insisted on eating huge amounts of meat forever, and we had incredible population growth that just went on and on. But we wouldn't be able to have incredible population growth, and urban sprawl would never be an issue, because if you had so much population growth that the cities just became, or basically you can't survive, humanity cannot survive with a significant ratio of urban sprawl to farmland for no other reason than if you've got 20 or 30 billion people on the planet, there isn't going to be enough farmland to go around to feed all those people, regardless of how high density your cities are. So it's never actually going to be a real issue, urban sprawl, in any circumstance, because we would starve before we really started to cut into any significant area of farmland.
But I suppose none of that's a problem anyway, because populations are stabilising, so...
Yes, they are stabilising. I mean, if we want to focus, it's definitely not an issue to be concerned with today.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, it's not... yeah. Okay.
Well, generally, what are the problems with it, with smart growth?
Smart growth has two gigantic problems. The most gigantic one, which is New Zealand is suffering from right now, and all through Australasia and America, but America's a total basket case, we won't worry about your country. The biggest problem is that when you choke off land supply, which is what it's all about, the price of land goes through the roof, and we've observed that in Auckland, for example. The cost of the average section has gone from about $50,000, $60,000 to about $180,000 and $200,000. And the effect is, with this huge price hike in the cost of land, is that people have got double the mortgage, which takes them 2 to 3, about twice as long to pay off, in some cases even 3 times as long to pay off. So they're basically chained to debt, a huge debt, and the impact that that has on their lives is enormous, obviously. You basically got, whether you like it or not, you say goodbye to your single income family, you're looking at a double income family, and one person in that family has to spend their working life supporting the mortgage, which is ridiculous in today's day and age. Houses should be cheaper today than they've ever been. Okay, and that is the mother of all costs of it. The other major one is that it supports people start borrowing. Basically, you've got all the baby boomers who have profited out of the smart growth, and that their house, because it's great to own a house, of course, which has been inflated so much, and so what they do is they borrow on the backs of their houses, and you get a whole lot of debt financing into the economy. And so the entire economy gets driven into debt from doing that, because you end up with all this debt financing replacing your productivity base. And that's what's happened in New Zealand, though that's a bit complicated, and I suggest that people go and look at my explaining New Zealand's property disaster for that one.
Is that the 2 points?
That's the 2 key points.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like smart growth is a great big load of hoo-ha, doesn't it?
Yes. Indescribably rancid. And the most important point is to not vote for any political party or politician that actually advocates for it. So goodbye the Greens, if you know what's good for you.
Oh well, fair enough.
Okay. Is that it?
Yep.
We'll have to do